Hey everyone, it's Cam from Arsenal Theory Podcast. This is about the sixth time I've tried to get this get this video going. In fact, I've got the wrong headlines up. So I want to welcome a guest to the show today. I've got Dale, the United fan. Hello, Dale.
Hello, Cam. Thank you for having me on your show. Hello, everyone.
That's okay. I've been wanting to have Dale on for a long time because I like talking to other people. It's kind of a bit difficult sometimes. I'm just doing it on my own, and I really enjoy talking to rival fans. It's just interesting getting the viewpoints on what's going on with their clubs and how they feel what's going on with us as well. And when it comes to United, there is always a lot to talk about. In fact, the videos I've done with that have involved United, they're the ones that get the most views. They are the most supported club in the world. And Dale's a hardcore Man United fan. So thanks for coming along. And what I'm going to do was that just a sip of a drink you just took there, Dale? Was it the? Oh, you can see the shit. I thought you took a sip of the Captain Morgan's. Okay, so we're going to get straight down to business, and I'm going to ask you a very direct question. I have asked you it before, but obviously we're recording now. So, Ten Hag, Man United, in or out? What do you think?
So it's very difficult because a couple of games ago when we lost to Man City, I thought to myself, do you know what, he's got to go. There's something not quite right. So I don't know if it was him or his tactics, or then it suddenly dawned upon me thinking about all the managers that have gone, Mourinho, Solskjaer, Ragnick, and there's a common factor of players, and like fair enough, we've shifted quite a lot of players out this season, and yet we're still stagnant. So it's very hard to say get him out, because the other problem is, who would we get back in? I think one of the I've even looked at, there's a little transfer list thing of all the players, all the managers that are available, and there are quite a few out there. One big thing is that I don't know if it was you that said it, but Zidane will not come to Man United at all. He's made that because it's not his style of football. So I don't know if you can blame the manager either, because one of the big things, if you look back at what Ronaldo was saying about the club, we are such a backward club. We've still got the same chef that was serving him 20 years ago, and the food's still the same. And I think that's one of the big problems with the club, that 20 years ago, everyone wanted to come to the club because the facilities were probably the state of the art, Aon, I think it was Aon complex. Everything was absolutely fantastic. But now as time's gone on, they haven't changed anything. They're just stagnant. And that there we come to the problem with the Glazers. They're putting money into players, but not into the club. So the club's dilapidated. The facilities are shocking, apparently. And none of the youth players want to come to us anymore for that exact reason. So can you blame the manager? I don't think you can. So I'm on the fence at the moment, but I've got a funny feeling it's out of, I say my hands, but out of the fans' hands. When it comes to the Galatasaray game, I think that's going to be the key game. If we win, he'll probably get a leave. Stay. Is it called a leave of absence? If we lose, I reckon he'll be sacked the next morning because we're out of the Champions League.
I don't think they're going to sack him. I really don't. I don't think they're going to sack him, but mainly because I think with what's going on with the ownership changing, well, not changing, sorry, but you've got like Ratcliffe potentially coming in. I don't think they'll do anything until Ratcliffe is in. So I think he's safe until that's kind of done and dusted. But he's, it's interesting because for the Glazers, what is success? What's the standard that he needs to reach as a manager, and are they providing him with the infrastructure to be able to implement his ideas, the scouting, the signings? I mean, even if you got rid of him, who would actually hire in a new manager? And you talk about like Zidane, and I'm like, he wouldn't want to go to United. Now we all know he doesn't want to go to United. But if Man United have a list of, okay, this is our number one guy to replace Ten Hag,
yeah,
they should be engaged enough as owners to go out and get that guy.
Yeah,
but they're not.
No, yeah,
But
that's a
then,
very good point. I think the other thing is talking about the ownership and stuff. I think everyone was looking forward to the Arabs taking over, and that didn't materialise. Now Ratcliffe's got, but it has not even been done yet. So apparently that's going to be during the international window. Apparently the deal's done. But then what? This is the thing. It's the. I think you might be right. Even after the Galatasaray game, they might not sack him because he was the person that you just said that they're going to go out and look for people. He was number one on the list 2 years ago, and I don't think there is anyone else left to pick. But then we're just going to go back to square one. So this reminds me of what we were talking about before about Ferguson was given to Ferguson nearly got sacked into his. It was 2 years into his managerial. So in fact, it was 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. So it was 4 years into his tenure, but it was getting really bad. And then all of a sudden, Mark Robbins scored that winning goal in the cup, and it just turned everything around. And then suddenly we ruled the 90s. But even Fergie was in this situation, but at least he had 4 years or 4 years before he got spoken about getting the push.
I don't think Ten Hag's going to last. No one. I say no one. I mean, Arteta's kind of in his fourth year, but very few people get to have that long in a job and it be poor.
Yeah,
relative to the size of the club and what you're spending. You know, the reason Mikel kept his job is because even though there were 2 or 3 times he could have got sacked, and there were at least 2 times I was like, I've had enough. Genuinely, get him out. There were kind of like these seeds of growth or change that you could see. And with Klopp, for example, when he first arrived at Liverpool, you know, the results weren't great straight away, but you could see that he was trying to change things and build a philosophy and a style of play.
Yeah.
But let's be real here. At United, for the last 6 years, you've been or maybe 4 or 5 years, you've been a counter-attacking team.
Yeah.
And no one's going to win the league now as a counter-attacking team.
Yeah. Talking about attacking, this is the other problem Ten Hag's had since he's come in. He's had two players, be it Greenwood and Anthony, being attackers, as in attacking women.
Yeah, be careful what you say here. Be careful what you say.
Women. And he's had to deal with that. He's had to deal with Ronaldo. He's had to deal with now Sancho. Now, this is another thing. I mean, who knows what's happened with Sancho, because he's just disappeared off the face of the earth, all because he said something about, he retaliated against something Ten Hag said. But I think there's more to it, because even if I think about it, because Sancho had been out for 4 months for mental health issues. And I think, I would have mental health issues playing for Man United, going back to what we were talking about with the facilities. To come from Borussia Dortmund, who probably had all the high-tech, facilities, the gyms, the recovery, everything like that, to come to Old Trafford, it's old. Everything's it's like going onto the Titanic to go on a cruise. It's like a lot of players. Look at Di Maria, didn't stay there very long. I know they're saying it's because he got burgled, but that's bollocks. A lot of players have been burgled and they still stay.
He was never a good, I mean, culturally, I just think him in Manchester is like, but then that's always a bit of an odd one.
But basically what I'm saying is I think there's an issue that you are probably half aware of, thanks to Ronaldo, because he made it very clear what he thinks of the club, his beloved club, by the way. And he was bang on the money, the fact that everything's piss poor. And I was saying to you earlier about if I was a youngster, coming through in Manchester, I would choose City over United, maybe more because of the facilities, because surely their facilities are going to be a lot better. Their training ground, new ground. You look at Arsenal, you look at Man City, Tottenham. Their grounds are brand new. They've probably got all the brand new training facilities, everything in there as well. And even away from the ground where they train, I'll bet you everything's spanking. Even West Ham, I've driven past West Ham's training ground quite a few times when I was an engineer, and it looks just brilliant. And then you look at Carrington. It's the same Carrington 30 years ago, from what I remember.
Yeah, it's the interesting point about Di Maria actually is something that's just occurred to me now, and I've never heard a United fan say this unless I've missed it. why are you consistently buying like old players from Real Madrid? So you've got like Di Maria, Varane, Casemiro, and technically Ronaldo, sort of, although he came from Juve, didn't he? He didn't come from Real Madrid. But it's just interesting that you've kind of bought, you need to buy them when Real Madrid are going to buy them and then stopping them going to Real Madrid and signing for United.
You know what? This is the problem we've got now, is that like, we're not an attractive club anymore. And the fact that we did get Casemiro and we managed to get Ronaldo back, which is, again, that didn't work out. But
he wanted to go to City. Ronaldo wanted to go to City,
and it was hijacked due to loyalty because Ferguson intervened.
Well, I think United were like, we just can't have this.
But
United actually did what a fan would have done, which is quite interesting. Actually, a fan would have gone, "Fuck this,
we can't."
We're stopping this," instead of going, "That's not the right move for us. It's not the right. Let him go to City. They're still going to win it anyway."
Can you imagine Ronaldo still at Man City and then getting Haaland in? Mate, that would have been absolutely. I mean, Grealish. I respect Man City's players. See, this is the other problem with Ten Hag, right? Surely there is an issue because look at Pep. Pep seems to develop players, right? And they want to play for him, and they improve as they go along. Like there's a whole list of players that Pep's gone through, but probably better players than they when they came. United are doing the opposite. They're getting good players in, and then letting them leave really bad. And again, it comes down to what is going on. What is going on with the coach?
Look at the profile. Look at the profile of player that Pep has been signing though at City. He's not really bought anyone who's going to come in and rock the boat. He's gonna like put their medals on the table and go like Varane is probably doing right now with Ten Hag. Well, here are my Champions League medals. Who are you to tell me about whatever it is, Johnny Evans or whatever? And Pep has fallen out with players at Barcelona, like Ibrahimovic. It happened, and even I mean I don't know if he fell out with Cancelo, but like Cancelo wasn't playing. He just shipped him, got rid of him. But he's got total authority there, and yeah, like you said, Pep's got the infrastructure, but the owners are so invested in the situation because it's more than a business to them. Now, some would say they're too invested because they've got 115 charges going on. No one seems to talk about anymore. It's just like completely like
vanished, isn't it? It's been taken out of the media. Yeah. And still get banned from Champions League, which is fucking amazing if that happens.
Nothing is going to happen to Man City. The Premier League do not have the competence or the lawyer talent to nail City to the mask on that one. I don't think. I think City will just have better lawyers and they'll just keep litigating and they'll keep delaying and keep just moving things around, and eventually it will just all disappear and everyone will lose interest. So, which is a shame.
Talking about players that you were saying about signing, because you look at Liverpool, Arsenal, and especially City, they sign players like, who's that? I mean, what? Who? They turn out to be gems. Like, look at Doku, I think, as a Man City player, right? Never heard of him in my life. So there's another issue with Man United. They've got a scouting issue. I think our chief scout left about a few years ago. And again, who the hell is scouting for Man United? Why are these players not getting picked up by our scouts? And then, do what Fergie did, go around their house and sign them up. It's very strange. We just seem to, you're right in saying, we seem to just buy top players and expect them to fit in and do well because they're top players with their 5 medals, like you're exactly right. But then what's happening with these players that we've not heard of? Why are we not signing these unheard of players to develop them? Like, okay, Højlund, credit, Højlund is the only one I can think of.
But it's still spent a lot of money on him.
Yeah, and I never heard of him before. But in all fairness, he's keeping us alive with the goals he's scoring.
Top scorer in the Champions League.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then you look at, we were saying this earlier, but Varane, I mean, I'm really sorry. I don't understand what's going on with Ten Hag. Is it his pride? Has he got like a power complex? Why would you bench Varane, as you rightly said, 5 times Champions League winner, World Cup winner, and then put in Evans? I mean, what are you going to expect to happen? I mean, what is going on? There's something really strange going on that we don't know about. So he's arguing with Sancho. He's arguing with Varane. obviously, are they arguing with him or he arguing with them? It's very strange. So there was a lot of shit going on, I think, and it's surprised that Ten Hag's he's quite a cool head, especially like in his interviews and stuff, and he answers his questions quite well, and he's quite honest, which, you know, Mourinho was quite honest and got him sacked, but I think he's quite honest in what he says. Like sorry, I think you might be talking about this later on, but one thing that I noticed in his interview today, Sky Sports put it into completely the wrong context. He said, we are not happy. I'm not happy with Rashford's form. Now, this is completely taken out of context. I watched the interview. He said Rashford's not happy with his form. We're not happy with his form, but Rashford's a strong person. He'll work. He's working on himself. But the way that Sky Sports tried to say it is that Man United are not happy with Rashford. So what they've done is they're leading into the Luton game, saying, "Oh, he's going to be dropped," but actually Ten Hag's praising him, saying, like, you know, he knows what he did was wrong, blah blah blah. But we are aware he's not been on top form, and so is Rashford aware. And I thought, you cheeky bastards.
He's not going to drop him for Luton as well, because it's like if you've got a player low on confidence, you've got Luton at home turning up, then you're going to play him because he'd probably score a hat-trick or something. So
Sky have twisted it to try and just for their own media sales. And I looked at it and I thought, really? But I thought, why would Ten Hag say that? Because look what happened with Sancho. He apparently said this about Sancho. Well, he did actually say it. But then look at the backlash on that. So are the media trying to now get Rashford fucking benched?
I've got sympathy with Ten Hag when it comes to Sancho, because I just think that guy clearly is not right. And I'm not sure if I mean, I don't know if he had problems at Dortmund. I never really heard about him having problems at Dortmund, but there's clearly something. He doesn't seem to be able to just knuckle down and get on with it and just accept that. Sometimes you have to accept that, okay, even though I'm right in this situation, I might have it with my wife. You know, my wife. I might have it with my wife where, okay, I think I'm in the right here, but I might have to accept this as an L to look at the bigger picture. You know, it's not worth creating a drama over this for this scenario. Like, no one wins here. And I'm sure my wife feels there's other cases where it's the other way around as well and stuff. And you just think for Sancho, ultimately, you're paid to play football and you should want to play football. Yeah. And you're not, and the team's doing very badly and you're not getting picked until you do what you're asked to do, and he's not doing it.
Yeah, but this is what fascinates me, because we need Sancho right at this moment, right? And even when like with his troubles, where the hell is Sancho? The guy's getting paid by the club quite a lot of money, and he's not even he's not even been allowed to train with the first team squad. I mean, what the hell? That's just bizarre, isn't it?
And cafeteria and all sorts of stuff. I mean,
it seems they're waiting for the January transfer window to off him.
No one's going to buy him.
Well, yeah, I think they will, but not at the price that we paid for him.
You're not going to be able to buy him. No one's going to be able to buy him because United paid like 90 million euros or something for him.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what's he worth? You've got no way of judging what he's worth because he hasn't played any football. Like, you don't know what's going to be turning up through your doors. So, you know, the only club that maybe might want to take a punt on him maybe be Dortmund, because they've managed him before and they've kind of seen him. But they're not going to, you know, Dortmund don't spend big money on players. You might get 30 million euros, and United aren't going to take a 60 million euro hit on him. And then you've got his wages. He's on, what, 300 grand a week probably?
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to have to loan him and probably pay at least 50% of his wages, which, you know, to be honest with you, I'm not saying that's a bad deal for United either, because plenty of clubs, you know, Arsenal have paid likes of Mesut Ozil off, paid Aubameyang off, Mustafi, Socrates. We were the first ones to start paying everyone off just to get them out of the club because we just couldn't get rid of them. And I remember everyone like laughing at Arsenal fans, and now all those other clubs, I think Chelsea might have to have paid a couple of people off. They're all going to be doing it. When you give these players these contracts they don't deserve, or you don't have a plan for them when they come into your team. So, yeah, for Sancho, he's he's got all sorts of problems. So it sounds like with the Ten Hag in or out, it was a bit clickbaiting of me, really. It's kind of bigger than that. There is a question I want to ask you, and I've not asked you this at all, like in our private chats or anything. I kind of thought about it whilst you were talking now, because we're talking about, you know, the infrastructure at the club at United and what's going on. Should United keep Old Trafford?
Well, the thing is, though, I think they can keep it. They're on an industrial estate, technically. I know that they're not allowed to expand anymore. I think they can do a little bit somewhere. I can't remember what it was now, but they can't expand much more. But I think what needs doing, there is nowhere else to go, because you've got to remember, we've got Liverpool next to us, got Everton, Liverpool, we've got City, we've got Oldham, Preston. You've got a lot of clubs around, but you know, there's not. I'm not sure. I've not seen the lay of the land, or I'm not a town planner, but I can't picture them building a stadium anywhere else. Like Everton managed a new stadium on the river, and you're thinking, okay, well, that, you know, they've managed to get land. I mean, look at Brentford. Like, I'm born and bred Brentford, and I've never have thought where they built their stadium you could ever do that, like where it was. And it's actually really, like, it's dinky, but it's really neat. And you think, well, that's not bad.
But could United? By the way, the reason I'm bringing this up is because obviously you've got Jim Ratcliffe is looking like coming in, and apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, but stuff has been leaked that one of the things is United are looking to do is to spend like a couple of 100 million maybe on doing like a refurb on Old Trafford. And I do wonder how far that money will go, because you look at Real Madrid and Barcelona, who are two clubs on a similar. United are on a similar level to those clubs, 100%, and that those refurbs have cost them like nearly €1 billion. I think one's 800 and the other's like 900 million euros. So chucking like 200 million pounds at it, like you're kind of thinking, what's that really going to do?
Basically, just a paint job, right? So
yeah, and so do they? If they knocked it down and just rebuilt it, would it still be Old Trafford for the fans?
It'll be New Trafford, wouldn't it? They'll have to call it New Trafford. But no, but the problem we've got there, you know, technically speaking, I think it can be done, because then we'd have to ground share with City. And it's happened in the past. A lot of clubs in the old days have ground shared. But how long would it take to rebuild? I mean, it could take four years, I reckon. Because
I don't know how Madrid and Barcelona. I mean, Madrid and Barcelona one's been going on a while.
I think with them ones, I think
you could get it done in 2 years. I think you could do it in 2 years. I really do. If you put the pedal to the metal, you could get it. You could get it done in 2 years, because if you already own the land, it's just an engineering thing.
Wembley, how long? I don't remember, but how long did Wembley take to rebuild?
Yeah, but that was all completely mismanaged. Now you had the FA, you had the FA managing it. I mean, the FA, come on.
Our capacity is quite high compared to other clubs. It's not a small like capacity; it's quite big. And I'm just looking around in my head at Old Trafford and thinking, do you know what? The actual structure is not too bad, but I think the facilities are really outdated. I mean, it reminds me of going to Brentford when I was a kid and going to the refreshment stand, and it's just a little stand. It's like a little stand with there's no massive fridges or anything like that. There is a fridge, keep drinks in, but it's so piss poor. The refreshments and stuff. From what it's a bit different when I was there recently, but I think it, like, compared to, I've been to Arsenal, I've been to Tottenham, I've been to a lot of the away grounds, and their facilities are like you get those beer things when you pop it on.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures. Yeah,
it's awesome to me. Using bottles you buy from an off license. I mean, it is really bad for fans. I think that the concourses are boring. They do need to refurb it. They do. It needs a modernisation. I'd use the word.
I mean, I think you might even be able to do it without knocking it all down straight away. So they could maybe start doing some of it, and then like, okay, for the final year, we're going to have to like shut this all down now. And I don't think you need to go share with City. There's I mean, off the top of my head, I'm not really sure where else you could go, but I'm sure there are options there. But it would be a headache. It would be a real. But that's what I'm saying. You know, is there? I 100% believe there's land that they could buy to do it with.
Yes, that's what I said. I'm not sure what's around there. So yeah, the other thing, this is the problem hotels have got, especially like in Singapore, for example, right? There's a place called Marina Bay Sands, which is the one with the infinity pool at the top, and I used to love staying there, right? And I went there last time with my ex Claire and Mallory, and we stayed there, and I could not believe how dilapidated it was. And this was only after 5 or 6 years, no, maybe more than that, 10 years. After like literally the curtains, you could see the curtains were nearly falling off. Some of the buttons didn't work. Everything just looked worn. Now I did research into that, and I thought, why don't they? I talked to my cousins in Singapore, and I said, why can't they? They said, look, it would cost them too much money just to even shut the floor down. If they did it a floor at a time, it would cost them like millions.
Yeah.
So they can't even shut a floor down of a hotel room to refurbish it because it's too much revenue coming in. So this is the problem with Man United. They're always like 74,000 every game.
How would you feel if United went, okay, we're building, we're moving from, we're leaving Old Trafford. We are leaving Old Trafford.
In all fairness, if that happened now, it'd be great. So I've been banned from this season ticket, which is quite my own fault. But you would just adapt. But again, I don't think there's anywhere that would take away the away fans. I think there's only about 3,000 away fans, but 70,000 fans. How are you going to accommodate them? And then you've got season ticket holders, and then you've got the revenues. I mean, it's just a no. But that's why they haven't done it. I think because there's too much money coming in every game in order to disrupt it.
But you could build a new stadium whilst keeping Old Trafford open.
Yeah, like Everton are doing basically right now.
Well, yeah, or like Arsenal did with Highbury, you know, or Tottenham did with White Hart Lane and the new ground. And so you could do that, but it doesn't sound like the Glazers are that interested in doing it anyway, really.
I was saying, it's it's a very good idea, and I never really thought of that either. But I don't think it's ever crossed my mind because Old Trafford is Old Trafford, isn't it? It's like Wembley. You wouldn't move Wembley. I think it's got such a historic, even after it was bombed in a war. I mean, it's got so much history, and it's functional. That's the word I'd use. It's functional, but it could be better. So, no idea how. Yeah, keep Old Trafford. I'd say for me, yes, because it's got the facilities I need, but it could be improved big time.
Okay. All right. Well, look, we're going to change up the subjects now, and something that's been in the news a lot recently is VAR. Now, is it VAR? Is it the people that use VAR? You know, is it the car or is it bad drivers? You know, what are your thoughts on VAR?
I've seen other teams get like you look at it, but obviously we've got the benefit of sitting on our couches and watching it. But the biggest hoo-ha was that Liverpool hoo-ha, and it was blatant. I mean, blatant. That and they couldn't step back. They said no, the play's already gone on. We've got to leave it. So I mean that's
not VAR though. That's not VAR. That's a miscommunication between the officials.
It's the individuals, right? So to answer that question, I think it's good, right? Because there has been decisions that have gone in our favour, and at the same time, I've sort of said to myself, well, do you know what? Put my hands up. Look at Rashford, right? People in the studio who were watching it, they were saying that was never a sending off. Maybe a yellow, it was accidental. But I had the pleasure of having it slowed down. Then I could see Rashford's eye looking down. The player was coming, and I thought, yeah, he deserved to be sent off. So VAR, I think VAR is good, but there's currently, and it's weird at the moment, how currently there are so many decisions that are being made by individuals, and we don't know who they are. And I think it's person error. But then the whole point of VAR, hey, here's another thing, right? Look at the international games when you get the VAR. It's a completely different ball game. They do it in 3D. They've got the lines that go like that. Hold up, why are we not using that technology? It's so simple.
Yeah.
And it show you like it's amazing. A bit like goal line technology when they get everything disappearing. All you see is a ball on the line. I mean, that's what they use sort of thing for VAR in internationals. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? Why are we so backwards? And to make some of the mistakes some of them made, and Arteta had every right to bloody have a go, and bloody rightly so, and he's not being punished because they know he's right. And this is straight after what happened at Liverpool. So I think these people need to get sacked. So if you make a mistake in a VAR room, you're supposed to be an assistant referee and you're not doing your job. Sorry, mate. P45. Next.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think Howard Webb, who runs the POGMA, the Referees Association, or whatever they call it, I think he should go, because I've seen nothing to suggest he's capable of building an organization and changing the perception of the organization, and are they moving with the times? There's so many problems with the refs, so many problems, and some of it is down to just the day-to-day, what the decisions they're making, the inconsistencies, and there's other stuff as well. Like, I don't like, all the refs are white. Why are all the refs white? Now, I'm not saying that that's why we're getting bad refs, but it's like, why are there no? The last time I had a black ref was Uriah Rennie, like 25 years ago.
Bloody hell, yeah.
Why is that? What's happening in the culture there where people are maybe not applying to become refs from minorities? A lot of the refs are from the Northwest.
Wow, yeah. And
there are no like London refs. There's none. I can't name one. They're all from the Northwest. They're all from like Manchester or wherever, up there. It's strange, and it feels very chummy. It feels like a real chummy situation. And then you've got these refs going off midweek to ref games out in Saudi Arabia and stuff. And
later, and then
and you can see Howard Webb's. It looks like, instead of trying to fix it, what Howard Webb has done is gone, instead of trying to fix this problem, I'm just going to try and get closer to the broadcasters. So I'm going to get just more chummy with Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville and Michael Owen, and give them kind of access, and we'll go through some stuff and we'll issue some apologies. I think I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year the Premier League clubs actually submit like a letter of no confidence in Howard Webb.
Either. Cam, something you said about inconsistency, very good word, because I remember Højlund gave away a penalty. I think it was City, I can't remember now, and for holding in the box. And then the Arsenal game, exactly the same thing happened to him, and it wasn't even given. And it was like, the inconsistencies are unbelievable. And then played Copenhagen just now. And I remember Maguire got obviously stupidly put his hand up and got given a penalty. When the same thing happened, I was sitting there going, I'd love them not to give it, because there would be the biggest uproar for VAR you would ever heard, because that is just proper biased. To give a penalty for Maguire handball, and exactly the same happened to Copenhagen. And if it wasn't given, it would have been. Can you imagine what would have happened?
God, I know what you mean. So I mean, I think VAR is a good thing. I think if you're having to make a decision, why would you want less information? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, but it's the people that are using it, and I think really they need to start, and maybe they are doing this. But like you have youth systems for players, they're going to need to start making like youth systems for refs and VAR specialists essentially.
Yeah. Remember on Match of the Day and stuff like that, they always say the same thing. They said the rules keep changing. That's what keeps happening apparently. So and apparently these VAR people have to stick by the rules. And then can you imagine, like, it's like trying to, like, you're driving, right? You've got the highway code that does change, but who the hell reads it all the changes all the time? Same with counselling. You've got what's called the BACP ethics. They change every now and then, but if you don't keep up with it, you're not going to know. So I suppose in their defence, it keeps changing. The rules do, like offside, handball in the box, all this stuff. It keeps changing, so they've got to keep it, which is probably hard.
Their job is to keep track of it. Their job is to keep track of it. So, well, it's the thing is, are they letting personal biases, which may be conscious or unconscious, are they letting relationships with the other officials affect, and even relationship with players affect how they are managing games? Because we've all seen players like Rodri, and I would put McTominay in this as well, actually, where there's two examples of players that seem to be able to get away with a lot of fouls before they get booked.
Yeah. Good, very good point that as well, actually.
And I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is. And maybe Arsenal have got that player as well. I don't know who that player is, but I definitely know that from watching McTominay, not just against Arsenal, but other teams. I've gone, man, I can't believe this guy just cannot seem to get booked at all.
Casemiro was, I can't remember, it was 2 games ago. I don't know if it was City or something, but he done a foul quite early. 2 of our players on, and then he just kept fouling. And I was like, oh my God, get him off. At one point, I was like, sent off. Just get him off. He was like on a mission to get sent off. He managed to carry on and he didn't get booked again, but he done a couple of fouls and everyone was like, why has he not been sent off? So yeah, there's a little bit strange.
Yeah, there we go. So we're going to, I think we'll go into our last topic of today, which is the Arsenal United rivalry. I wanted to talk about because it feels like the one, not the one true rivalry in the Premier League, but in terms of non-derby teams, Arsenal fans and United fans really hate the other teams. I mean, I remember last season in the title run-in, there were United fans, not necessarily you, but I saw United fans openly wanting City to win the league and not Arsenal, even though City were on for a treble. They just didn't want to deal with Arsenal winning it for whatever reason. And I kind of I know where they're coming from, because I remember I didn't want Liverpool to win the league. I wanted City to win the league. I didn't want Liverpool to win it.
Yeah, anything but Liverpool. So I probably hate Liverpool more than I hate City, because I think I've resigned myself to the fact that City are going to win everything, but just don't want Liverpool to do it. But with Arsenal, I've got to say, I actually I don't really care. I don't know what makes me think. So I think I said to you at the beginning of the season, I think Arsenal are going to win the league this year.
Right.
I think that's sort of gone away. But I think I'm going to run away again. But it's like, but I think Arsenal have got it in them to win the league. But I don't have an issue with that, because I'm just more worried about my team at the moment. Because if people that with City, I didn't want them to get the treble, obviously. So I'd rather if Arsenal won the league.
Yeah.
But it's was it coach horses? That's the word. I think everyone's got different opinions, aren't they? So, but yeah, talking about rivalry, I always cast my mind back to the days of Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira. I mean, that was football, and that was passion on the pitch, off the pitch. I think someone made a good point. Roy Keane, I think it was, made a very good point 2 seasons ago, when the players are all hugging each other even at the beginning of the game, and like hugging each other and shaking hands and laughing. And he goes, I would never have accepted that. You're about to go into battle, right? You're not pally, chummy. It's like look at this, a prime example of Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira, how it's supposed to be. And I wish it was, no laughing, hugging, joking, and bloody all in the game.
Well, it's interesting actually, because back then in those days, so the clubs were rivaled against each other. The managers, were rivaled against each other, and the players were rivaled against it. Like you'd have, Vieira and Keane were direct rivals on the pitch, and you knew that there was tension between the two players. But you think of today, I can't really think of 2 players who have that tension against each other in the Premier League.
Yeah, hold up, I did ring a bell. I think there was someone. I know, I'm thinking of. No, sorry, go on, Karen. Yes, I was thinking.
No, I don't see that. I don't even see. Players are tagging each other in Instagram comments and bullshit like that these days.
Social media aspect of things, and this is why Pogba. I think I'm sort of happy Pogba and Lingard left the club, even if it was under really bad circumstances. because all they both cared about was social media. That's all they cared about.
Right.
They lost the way of football. Because if you're, in my opinion, I know you've got to make money out of the thing, but if you're not focused on football, you're not focused on football. It's simple as that. Look at players like Ronaldo, Messi. They stay after training. They do that extra. They go that extra mile. But you're right. Look at these players now. They're all pally, and I think it is affecting the game. But Man United have got you even look at their body language on the pitch. They're not even talking to each other. Like they're not even. I don't know. There's something missing. Although I've got to say, for the first 20 minutes against Copenhagen, they were like hands up, going, if they've misplaced the pass. They haven't done that in ages. But you can always tell the players' body language. But then going back to the rivalry, yeah, you're right. I can't think of either any two players that are consistently at it. That you
Yeah,
always...
I can't either now. I mean, I'm thinking of today's modern game, and it's hard to think of, really. I mean, even if you go back a few years, you then kind of had like maybe Lampard and Scholes, but it wasn't a direct like, right, I'm coming for you. You know, it wasn't really even like that. It was just who's gonna perform, and I think that's why people do reminisce on those days so much, and I think it's why people are so got so passionate about their clubs, really.
Yeah.
It was just all, you're at the right age, that rivalry is there, that intenseness is there, and you look back on it now and you just think, wow, is it ever going to be like that again?
Yeah. Do you know something, mate? Just while you were saying that made me laugh. I was thinking Man United players would rather beat their partners up or beat other people up than beat other players up.
Steady on.
Why? I'm going to go back. This brings me back to what we were talking about earlier, and I forgot to say it. But we were talking about like the amount of money we spend on players. Sorry, I'm digressing a bit from your.
It's all right. It's okay.
So we spent like 90 million on Sancho, but don't forget we spent over 80 million on Maguire, and then he tried to bribe a policeman, and he went downhill after that. So, and it just reminded me. I was thinking to myself, yeah, these players, they're rather supposedly not.
They're
proven.
out for themselves.
And yeah, it's like, why can't you put that passion on the pitch?
They're out for themselves because United have got a leaker, haven't they? There's a leaker in the dressing room at United.
Yeah,
there's someone that's leaking information all the time.
How do we? Yeah.
Because I think at one point it may have been Maguire. Arsenal had the same thing because Mesut Ozil was just leaking everything, and then Arteta was like saying, "I'm going to find the leak."
Yeah, Hardy all over again, isn't it?
Oh, man.
But this, just it is fascinating to me how these players they've seen. For me, the United players seem to lack, a few of them still to this day lack that passion, or you'll see it for 20 minutes and then as the game goes on it just fades away. It's the consistency, and I think another thing that worries me that they're not fit, because I've never seen United players have so many injuries in a season for ages, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, because it could be that Ten Hag is getting them into shape and it's making them their true colours come out. They can't handle it, or their bodies can't handle it. But that could be a good thing, I suppose. But yeah, the passion, it's even when you're on the pitch, you can just see the heads drop. Rashford, again, I know the media are now trying to turn it on him as well, but even I've got to say, he's been terrible for the last, I've lost count how many games, 10 games. And
since he signed the new deal, really. I mean,
you rightly said it, when a player's form's down, the only way he's going to get back up is by playing. But come on, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again, expecting a different result. He does need to be dropped. He did get dropped, actually, for going out partying. Well, supposedly he was injured, but he went out partying after the City game, which is fair enough.
I mean, that's just a stupid decision on his part. And I don't know if he apologised or was asked to apologise, but it's not a good look. I can see why maybe there's part of him that's like, I'm sure he wasn't out drinking and getting pissed or whatever, but
they're saying that, well, it doesn't matter if you won or you played City or anything. It's his birthday. He deserves to go out. But the club, but then But then to get dropped, and then they were trying to say, no, it was a.
But look, you know, Gal, if he was on 15 Premier League goals for the season,
exactly.
no one would have
Yeah.
cared. Even if you'd lost against City and he was out partying, but he'd been banging the goals in left, right, and centre, and wasn't the reason why you're being so shit, no one would have said anything.
This goes back to like our work ethic, right? So, how do I word this? So, if he was passionate about his game, like Ronaldo and Messi, rather than going out partying, surely he'd be on the training pitch after the game, going, right, I'm going to improve my game.
Well, he might be. You don't know he isn't.
Good point, but I think he didn't. But you see what I mean? There's a big difference. I'm not saying, but I think that it feels to me that the players are just picking up their paycheck, and they're just missing that. It's just going through the motion. I don't know how to explain it. There's something missing at United. No one can put a finger on it.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. You can see that they're not quite in the moment, or they haven't got. It doesn't feel like they're working to like a goal, or like a joint. Yeah, a joint up destination of like, hey, we're heading in this direction, and this is the target, and this is what we're going to do.
It's a bit
like they have that.
A bit like Kirby, right? So you've got like what's called a conversion rate. You know how many dems you need to do to sell. That means you know how much money you're going to make. But on this case, it's points. So you need, right, I want to get Champions League, or I want to get this. I need to do this. Not doing it, if the stats not right, what am I going to do to improve it? And it seems to be at the moment, Ten Hag's battling his players. And like, look, as I said, Sancho, Rashford, Varane, no idea why he's on the bench. But we're not being told what's going on, but there's definitely something going on. And there's obviously a disciplinary issue. Because do you know any other club that you know of, maybe it is a league, any other club that you know of that's got so many problems with their players, criminal problems, when I say that, even though it's not proven, but there's stuff going on. You're thinking, what the hell?
Yeah, not really. I mean, Arsenal had some bad eggs, but we didn't really. Arteta was falling out with players, but he then got rid of them. And so, like, if you're going to fall out with a player, okay, fall out with him, but then you've got to get rid of him. But you can't fall out with him. See, one of the problems Arteta had when he fell out with his players was the way he fell out with them. We couldn't sell them because no one wanted them. And Ten Hag's done the same thing. He's fallen out of them in a way that I can't get rid of these guys now because no one's going to want to pony up the cash.
But you said this earlier. You said it's a question of just biting your tongue and just going, like, just get on with it for now and then deal with it later. But they're just dealing with it now. And I'm thinking, like we've said about Sancho, I mean, just let him fucking play and just let him do his job and then wait till January. And if you want to get rid of him, But to not let him play is petty, in my opinion.
Well, it might be petty, but I kind of side with Ten Hag on that one because I don't know what's gone on behind the scenes. And if he has been training poorly and has been showing a bad attitude and should have apologized and hasn't, then
we don't know what's going on. You're right. Yeah.
No, we don't know. And I can't imagine, he's thinking the player's got no talent and I don't need him, because he clearly does. I'm sure Ten Hag wants a fully fit and firing Jadon Sancho, but he can't. The tail can't wag the dog, unfortunately. An old saying. So
England need him as well, and he's not going to get an England squad if he's not playing. And
this is what I mean. He's got no passion. I mean, does Sancho want to be playing in the Euros? It's like he's not. You're so far away from getting into that squad right now. You really need to make some manoeuvres. So, look, Dal, I'm gonna have to wrap it up now. We've been going been going for like 50 minutes nearly.
Yeah.
So,
you know that.
yeah, it's gone quick. I've really enjoyed it. I want to do another one. And so, look, we've got some games coming up at the weekend. Obviously, United have got Luton at home. You got any predictions?
So I say everyone, the pundits already said we're going to lose 2-1. I've seen all the predictions. I got a feeling we will turn it on. We've got to. If we don't, I want it to be 2-0 United. So that's my
2-0 United.
I can only hope. And if it does, we'll only lift my hopes for one day again. We're like a road. We are literally like a road.
So Arsenal got Burnley at home, and I'm going for a 3-1
to Burnley.
Yeah, not to Arsenal. They did beat us actually when Arteta joined. That was one of the times I wanted Arteta out. I think when we lost 1-0 at home or 2-1 at home to Burnley.
I think one issue. You guys have got a lot of players that are having fitness tests today.
Yeah, but still, I think even with that at home, we should have enough. We should have enough to take care of business on this thing. So yeah, we'll find out in a 24 hours what's going to happen there. So look, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Everybody, and thank you.
We'll do another one soon. Okay. All right then. Thanks everyone for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. Please comment. See you in the next one. Thanks.
If anyone's got any comments about VAR and stuff like that, please put them in comments.
Dal's ready. Dal's there. He's ready. He's ready to type back. Keyboard warrior.